broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox Cities Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core. My next guests are an indie rock band from Green Bay, Wisconsin, formed in early 2018. The band initially started out as a duo before expanding in 2020. Their music is a mix of indie and alternative. They've been compared to the Strokes and the band Pavement, both two excellent bands. They released a lot of projects, including their debut album American Dream in 2021, and then an EP called Rough Night in 2022. They recently, just yesterday, released their latest album called Is This Forever? I'd like to welcome Sherry Lane to Fox Cities Core. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
The day after happy release day, and happy day after birthday to Maddie. You had an album get released on your birthday. How did that feel?
It was a big day. It was a lot of celebrating.
We appreciate her letting us intrude on her birthday.
Yeah.
How are you feeling this morning?
I feel good. I feel very well rested. Yeah.
Awesome. So the album Is This Forever came out yesterday, and have you guys been getting a lot of feedback from people that have been listening to it so far?
Yeah, we've gotten some really good feedback from friends, family. It's been wild. I went live on Instagram at 11 p.m. the night before, just because I knew it was going to drop at that time, and I had a handful of people that were pretty hardcore listening to it at that moment, and it was pretty cool. One of my buddies was like, I sent it in a Discord to like 60 people, and hopefully they all listen to it and love it. I was like, that would be cool, yeah.
So you're getting feedback on specific songs. You must have leaked out a little bit to some people prior.
Yeah, we did do a listening party at GBUFO in Green Bay, so a handful of people heard it there. And then we also sold a few CDs in Wausau. We played at the at Intermission the weekend prior, and yeah, so there was a few people that bought the CD and messaged me after, and they're like, I can't wait till it's on streaming so I can actually share this with people, because they're like, I just had to keep it to myself right now. But it was hard not to leak the entire album early. Yeah,
we did. John made it a handful of CDs.
Oh yeah.
In the months leading up, because we got the final product back and from Lursen, when they mastered it, I think early December, and then. But yeah, I know John had burned some CDs just to give away at some shows that we played recently, and it was kind of funny. Like there was a couple of them that like he burned that for some reason, like the title track of the song or of the album was omitted from the CD, and then I think there was another one where it was like the CDs were not in track order; they were in alphabetical order. So I was like, all right, well, we gotta switch it up a little bit. We can't lay it all out on the table.
That's what I get for burning CDs 20 minutes before I have to leave to go to the show.
Yeah.
Well, let's go down the line and introduce yourselves and what you do in the band.
Mm-hmm. You want to start, Justin?
Sure, yeah. Well, like Tyler just said, I'm Justin, and I play bass and do some backing vocals and a little bit of lead guitar on the new album.
My name's Tyler. I write the lyrics, I sing the lead vocals, and I play rhythm guitar.
My name's John. I play mostly lead guitar, a couple background vocals.
And bass, John?
Yeah, one track of bass. And actually, American Dream, I played quite a bit of bass.
You did?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. I'm Maddie. I play drums, and on this album, I also played keys, did some background screaming, and some auxiliary percussion.
This album it's different, and obviously, Tyler, you were first here a couple years ago, and some different faces here, which this album has a definite different feel from the stuff you've released in the past. Mm-hmm. Can you tell me a little bit, before we get into the latest album, Is This Forever, tell me a little bit about how the band got started and how you got into writing? And
Yeah, totally. So I was doing solo acoustic stuff for a long time. Started in high school with a buddy and my youngest brother. And yeah, I did that for a while. Had a bunch of songs for probably about, probably like 8 years or so. And went to go record with another buddy that John was actually living with at the time, and went to go record American Dream, just kind of a solo thing. I wasn't going to have any bandmates. I was just going to do it all by myself. And then John got, John was asked to play lead and just kind of like play with us at one point. And then my little brother ended up getting pushed onto bass because we didn't want to have 3 guitar players. And then we found our old drummer, Rudy, who was here with me last time. I found him at like a songwriters night thing. We followed each other on Facebook, and then I reached out to him at that time. Through the years, ended up recording American Dream during COVID. John was the one who recorded all of that for us. And then, Rough Night, we did that, a year later, pretty much mostly ourselves as well too. And then, now, we had some lineup changes in 2022. So we brought Justin on board. I think that was the year we brought you on board, right? 2022?
Yeah, it was like a month after Rough Night came out.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. And then Maddie came on at the end of 23?
Yeah, I think so.
November.
Yeah, November 23. Yeah, so... And then, we were just, writing, working on the songs that were already... So we had a handful of them that were demos at one point that we just were sitting on when we went through the lineup change and kind of just like... cool, we have these songs that are here. We did release April 25, self-recorded and stuff at one point for like a compilation thing that we did. So I had a buddy actually reach out to me. He's like, is this a Mandela effect? I think I heard April 25 before. And I was like, yeah, man, like, trust me, like, sorry to freak you out or anything. But yeah, he definitely did. And then, we ended up, coming together with these songs, going to Honeytone in Neenah. Patrick and Jeff there are fantastic. And then had 4 days there with them. That was fantastic. And sent the mastering out to Lursen out in Los Angeles. And then been sitting on the album since right before Christmas, pretty much. So,
not to jump too far ahead, but Honeytone, it looks like a really unique setting. And it's in an old kind of, is it Victorian or it's like a big old house?
Yeah. Yeah, it's super cool in there, and it's just all of the like just the woodwork and stuff like that, and like all the crown molding and stuff like that around the house is I'm sure most of it is original or at least
period correct.
Yeah,
period.
Sure. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, John, you're the carpenter of
Yeah, I was
the
gonna say
band.
you're stealing my thunder here.
But no, it's so cool in there, and it just creates a really warm and just comfortable environment to be like for the creative process in there too.
So what made you decide to go to Honeytone? Did you have any prior experience there?
Yeah. So I was actually before joining Sherry Lane, I was in a different band for a few years called Floral Friday, and so then that's kind of how I learned about Sherry Lane. Was actually that Floral Friday actually opened up for Sherry Lane's album release show for American Dream in 2021, and so we had played a handful of shows together. But anyway, so long story short, so we had, for Floral Friday's last album, we had recorded I think mostly just some vocals, and I think did a little bit of extra guitar work there, and so I had very limited experience from that. But I discovered that studio because Sam and Tony from Horse Green, I know that they had recorded the Diamond Engine there, and so they had really good things to say about it, and so I was like, well, yeah, we should go check it out. It's right in our backyard pretty much. So
Gotta get to a couple comments here quickly.
Oh, dang, already?
7,000 apart. Well, they're both watching. Jonathan said, yes, love them. And Amelie
John.
said that Tyler and I did a play together back in 2013. It was great. Tell us about this play. I want to hear about it.
Yes. Hi, Amelie and John. Hope you guys are well. Amelie and I were in a play called Almost Maine. It was a bunch of vignettes. And I played the psychotic ex-boyfriend to her I think we were in a restaurant scene. And it was very much like, I felt like just a psychotic channeling of like a Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't know that everybody else saw it that way. They're probably like, what is this guy doing up on stage? But I felt like I nailed it.
Well, you did some acting at Sherry Lane. You guys were doing like videos and things like that.
Oh, yeah. We just had a music video too come out with my brother. My little brother actually helped make that So I did a little bit of acting next to my car. It was great.
And Emily said that she thinks half of her lines were yeah.
They were actually, yeah. She did say yeah quite a bit. And actually what's funny is now that she said that, it reminded me that I flipped the entire script during one of the scenes and somehow still recovered. And I was pretty proud of that in the moment, but I don't think the director was very happy with me.
I want to say hi to Corey Bertram, who's watching. And Corey actually messaged me before you and Rudy were on originally, or right after, and said that he had meant to message me a year or so before to let me know about Sherry Lane.
Yeah.
So how's the process been so far getting out there? Because it seems like you guys are really playing a lot of shows now. You've really been networking with other bands. How is it different now when you're trying to book a show versus when you were here last time?
That's a great question. So I actually, I just started just unloading messages and follows on Instagram to bands that I really like, and then bands that are similar to those bands just around the area, Wisconsin in general. And, just reaching out and just messaging those bands and just saying, hey, this is who we are, and actually checking out their music, and then, letting them know, hey, I like this song. I like this specific thing about this song that you guys have. I think that carries a lot of weight. That's helped us get introduced to some bands out of the Milwaukee, Madison area too. We'd love to play more shows in those areas, but our schedules are insane. So trying to get around all of the scheduling stuff has been wild, but trying to play as many shows as possible for this album release, definitely.
Well, your next show is at Badger State Brewing.
Yeah.
Which is coming up on April 19th. And there was a comment as well. I'll have to find it. Somebody said they would see you at that show. Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
We'll see you there.
Yeah.
Also, it starts at 5 p.m. for all you old folks that don't want to stay out too late. So
It's the early bird special.
Wait, what time did you say it starts at?
it starts at 5 p.m.
5 p.m.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right after the market on the vintage market.
So obviously bands like shows that start early, just like fans that go see shows. I feel like it's kind of a circular firing squad, if you will. But why do venue owners still insist on shows starting so late?
John, what do you think? You go to a lot of shows.
That's a good question.
Let's just use the Reptile Palace as an example.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they start really late, don't they? Or what's the other one in Oshkosh? There's Fletch's or something?
Oh yeah, Fletch's I think usually has shows start
10
at 10.
o'clock. It's too late.
There's a venue in Madison called Mickey's, and their shows start at 10, but they're always super packed. My metal band Soul Shade plays there a lot, and it's doesn't matter that it starts at 10. Everybody's there and the energy's there.
Nice.
Mickey's is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have no idea why they started so late.
Yeah,
to get back to the question.
It's far too late. Even last night I was planning on going out and doing all this stuff, and then because I was I gotta wake up at 8 a.m. I stayed in. I was in bed by 9:30. So
I mean, it probably has to do with bar sales. You'd think.
you'd think, yeah.
I feel though if I was in, it might just be because I'm older, but if I'm going out and if I was drinking, I'd probably like to drink earlier and then sober up and drive home.
100%.
You'd think,
That's a good
yeah.
point.
Get the beers in early.
Yeah.
Right. Starting at 10, I feel like you have a better chance of somebody who's been drinking since 5 showing up and causing a problem.
It's a valid point.
So
Yeah.
Maddie mentioned a metal band. What was the name of that band?
Soul Shade.
Soul Shade. Are you in any other projects besides Soul Shade?
Yeah, so I'm also in a punk band called Ditch the Hubcap, which is native to Green Bay. I play drums in that one, and then I play bass in Soul Shade.
So when you were asked to join Sherry Lane, you were in all those projects already.
Yes.
Any
and
hesitation
more.
about adding another one to the plate?
There was a little bit of hesitation, but I filled in with Sherry Lane for a Halloween show probably a year or two prior to when I was asked to join, and I mean, I really liked all of them, and so I talked to Tyler, who was the one who reached out, and I was like, if you guys can be cool with my schedule, I'll definitely join, and so far there haven't been major issues, I guess.
Yeah, we've been good.
Do you like playing the different styles? You mentioned a metal band, a punk band, and Sherry Lane is indie rock, and it's a lot of different styles. And do you differ how you play with each project?
I do. I mean, Sherry Lane, I definitely take a more laid-back approach, and then Soul Shade is very, very technical and proggy parts, so it's more thinking, and then with the punk band, it's just play loud. So it's fun to get a variety to play.
And John, are you in any extra projects?
Nothing that plays out. I've got a couple friends from work that we jam every Friday, but we've never done anything with that. And I used to do some solo shows. Haven't done that in a couple years, but maybe one day I'll get back out there.
Solo shows like acoustic singer-songwriter kind of stuff?
Yeah.
So, I'll get back to that. I have a question for you about that. So, Justin, Floor Friday, are they still a band?
I don't think so. I think just it kind of fizzled out. But yeah, I don't know. I think it was just juggling both bands. I think for me was becoming a lot, and I think in the end I kind of had to take a step back and be like, I'm not really enjoying this anymore. And so that's where because I did do both for about a year. But no, I think some of them still get together and play music though, for the most part. But yeah, otherwise, unfortunately, I don't think Floor Friday is a thing anymore, which is a shame because I think that kind of stopped like a few months after our last album came out, which I was like I was really proud of the album that we made, even though it was a little bit more like pop punk, which is not really the music I usually listen to, but it was still fun to play and be a part of the creative process with that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like sometimes a band will put out a really good album, and for whatever reason, it's like keep the band on life support until that happens, and then it just implodes.
Yeah, and then it just kind of fizzles out or something. But yeah, which is a bummer. But
the stress of putting out an album is at all-time high, though. I will say, Justin and I had a phone call, like, was it the morning after the album came out? And he's like, I don't know about you, but I feel like there's a big weight lifted off right now. It's like, there definitely is. Yeah. I'm glad it's out in the world now, and I don't have to babysit it before letting it out there. So,
yeah.
John, circling back to you now.
Yeah.
Singer-songwriter stuff. Mm-hmm. So in this band, you are adding a lot of guitar color to what Tyler is playing.
Yeah.
How did you adjust to Tyler's style? Was that a lot different than what you were previously doing?
Not extremely different. I like sometimes Tyler comes in with songs that are like 80% finished, and I like that I can kind of take the skills that I built from writing songs and try to add a new section to a Sherry Lane song. That's been really nice.
And Tyler, how has it been to have somebody else filling the sound for you?
It's lovely. I love it. Yeah, I really disliked after playing acoustic solo for a long time, because I'm not like a technical guitar player whatsoever. I mean, I know chords, and that's pretty much it.
Not their names, just how to play them.
I just know how to play them. I don't know their names. I just know what I like and what I think sounds good, and what makes it, like I can come up with a really good melody too or something. So the thing for me has always been to try to have a blank canvas and then have these guys fill in around it. And yeah, it's weird because we do have a lot of songs that, like John said, were like 80% finished coming in, but the ones that are my favorite are the collaborative ones where we're in the rehearsal space, and like Justin, like Bad Habit on the new album, Justin came to us with that bass line, and I was like, that's incredible, let's do that. And then John came with the Self-Reflection guitar line was one that we were like, oh yeah, this is kind of cool, and we did a little fun thing with that. So it's been great. Yeah,
I'm still digesting the album. It's really, really good.
Thank you.
The Bad Habit song, since you mentioned that, we'll get into that now. It's got a kind of a disco ting to it. It really does have a good bass line, but it's about cocaine. I mean, are you writing these on experience?
No, that's the other thing too. I think that's something that I'm glad you asked this question, because I don't do cocaine, mom and dad or anybody out there that's watching that I work with or anything. I don't do cocaine, and I've always penned songs that are from another person's perspective. So it's pretty rare that, the songs that, are really personal to me, like on this record, like The Balance, the song for Mom, Heartbreak Hotel, like those are the big ones that are really personal to me. But the rest of them, like even on our last album, like Bolo, like that's all. Or like Basher Boogie, like obviously I'm not a serial killer or anything.
Sure,
but like, right, yeah.
Sounds like something a serial killer would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But those are all just, from other people's perspectives and just pulling from, hearing little tidbits of, somebody walking by when you're out in public, or, like Bachelor Boogie was because I listened to a ton of My Favorite Murder, that podcast, and like Last Podcast on the Left and stuff like that.
So when you're writing a song like Bad Habit, you're just deciding, I'm going to write a song about drugs. And then take me through your songwriting process. It's a good time to go through your songwriting process.
Yeah. So, Justin came to us with that, and the first thing I thought of was this has a very like Dua Lipa meets AM Arctic Monkeys feel to it. And so I kind of took, you're welcome. It was fantastic bass line. I love it. And
can I just cut into, did you bring it to a practice and then just played it during a practice?
I think he sent it through Facebook Messenger originally in our group.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Bad Habits, or?
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I remember having that one kind of in the back pocket for a bit, and just kind of noodling around at home, and it was kind of something I came up with. And yeah, it was either I sent it in our group chat over like a voice memo, or brought it into practice, and I think we just picked it up and started going with it. And Tyler was able to come up with the lyrics like really quickly. I think it's like, I'm trying to remember, we do have a demo of that one, like one of the first times we ran through it, and I know the melody came to me really quickly. I think it all just comes together quick. I mean, if we go through a song, like if I have a melody that I find, there's just this groove that you hit, and then you just go and make up gibberish. I mean, and then you put it together, and I pull lines from the gibberish when John sends us the demos, and then I just write out the rest of the lyrics and stuff. So I do remember the chorus came in like the first part of the process, and I think the first verse was pretty much there, but the second verse needed some TLC. But it was all pretty much within the first like couple run-throughs of it. Yeah, and then the end breakdown after the the second chorus where it gets a little bit heavier. John came in with that part.
Yeah, that was actually a demo we wrote in like 2021. That riff was just one small part of the demo, and I always really liked that riff, so it was in the right key. So
it fit. Yeah. Well, and I think it helps too because it keeps the song from getting like stale, I guess, and kind of just being like repetitive, because otherwise, besides like the pre-chorus, it's the same bass line over and over again. But bringing that in, kind of, and to me, I think it also is. I mean, the song's about cocaine, obviously not in favor of it. It's more of a cautionary, like, hey, don't do it.
Yeah, it is more of that.
You'll
lose all your money.
You pour your money and your life down the drain. But it does kind of pick up that energy, as if it's like, oh yeah, maybe it's like someone just did a line of cocaine and now like this is what's going through their head, like that heavier, fast paced.
Well, and Justin, you mentioned change, like it changed the song. I did notice a maturity in the songwriting on this album. It's the songs do go places you don't know they're going to go, and it keeps the listener interested. And so, I mean, that as far as the songwriting goes, it sounds like you've obviously your songwriting's improved. It was good before, now it's great.
Yeah, and that's definitely a testament to these three. Like melody-wise, I feel like I've definitely matured, lyric-wise as well too, but like the ideas and the change-ups and stuff like that, that like Justin and Maddie and John bring to the table. I mean, it's just, Maddie is a wizard too with everything Maddie does. I mean, the keys parts I think really help the album a lot.
Definitely. And how is she going to do that live and drum at the same time? How's that going to be handled?
I think I'd need an extra limb for that one.
Yeah, we had Maddie. So, because we did 4 days in the studio at Honeytone, and Maddie, we got there, and it was so funny. I mean, like, love Patrick and Jeff, and the first, like, we walk in right away, and Patrick's like, so how many songs we doing in the 4 days? And I was like 12, and he just kind of like laughed a little bit. He's like, nah. Like I kind of felt like he's like, no way.
Yeah. Like,
and,
okay, sure, whatever you say, man.
And then I don't think he knew the powers of Maddie though, because Maddie had I think 10 songs in the first day done on drums, and
it's
then
all like maybe 3 takes per song.
Yeah. I think most of them we used probably the first take too. I think on most of them.
I know Bachelor Boogie we used the first take for I think drum and bass.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Did you use your own drums, Maddie, or did you use Honeytone's arsenal of vintage gear?
I use their arsenal of vintage gear because my drums are definitely not well taken care of.
I suppose that's a nice thing about going to Honeytone is just the amount of equipment you have at your fingertips there.
Yeah.
Is it hard not to get caught in the weeds trying out different effects and things like that?
A
So
little bit.
I'm not a gearhead, so for me, I could have cared less. I was like, yeah, this stuff's really cool to look at and whatever. I was like, this is what I wanted to sound like. Just hook me up with whatever. And then John was the one you were like guiding me on what I should have done too. I feel like for the most part. So
I would say I was most excited about their collection of guitar pedals. Mm-hmm. Their collection of guitars. It was a little bit of be careful with this one. This one is the cost of a down payment on a mortgage. Be careful with it. I'm more of a fan of like $300 guitars. I don't think I've played a guitar on stage that I paid more than like $500 for. So I wasn't crazy about that, but yeah, definitely some cool stuff.
Yeah, which guitar did you break a string
I
on,
think
instantly?
that was the Jazz Master, and then the 63 SG I slammed into the side of the couch.
apologies, Patrick and Jeff, for John's behavior.
We had a couple questions from DJ Bear, who hosts Amped Up on Code Zero.
Sweet.
Said he's enjoying the interview while grocery shopping.
Hell yeah.
If you were to go on tour and one band member had to cook, who would you choose?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
I'm going to say John.
Yeah, John probably. I was going to say definitely not Maddie. Sorry, Maddie.
What? Why?
Yeah, but you're also out of that, Tyler.
I am out of that because I go to Taco Bell religiously.
I think we just need to add Austin as an honorary member.
Yeah, we would get my brother Austin actually to cook. We went up to a cabin in Michigan prior to Maddie joining the band. We went up and we're like going to track a lot of these songs, and we took my brother Austin with because he was like, "Yeah, dude, bring me up there. I'll just cook for you guys."
Yeah,
I was like,
film
all right.
content and whatever.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we can't release any of the content because it's like unusable. Because of the copious amounts of alcohol that we consumed during that. But yeah, it was fantastic. He made like the best French toast that I've ever had while we were there.
So
it's
good.
just incredible. Like
That chicken curry.
the chicken curry.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we were eating like kings up there in the middle of nowhere in Bessemer, Michigan on a ski hill. So it was awesome.
Jerry's got two-part questions here.
Oh, cool.
So his second one is, what's one local venue you like playing at, and which iconic venue in the country is on your bucket list to play someday?
Oh, whoa. That's a good question. Maddie, do you want to start on that one?
I can. I really like playing at the Annex in Madison. So I guess not really local to Green Bay or Fox Cities, but my metal band's played there a couple times, and it's super cool because the stage is pretty big and you feel like pretty official, even though it's not really a small venue. But I really like that one. And then maybe bucket list for the country. I feel like it'd be an acoustic nightmare, but playing at Red Rocks, I think would
Yeah.
be super duper cool.
Yeah.
I would say dream venue for me would be the 7th Street Entry in Minneapolis. I went there last year and saw a show there for the first time. And
Which show?
it was I went there for the weekend and I saw whatever show was going on. I don't remember the names of the guys that I saw.
So just going to the venue itself was...
Yeah, that was the trip. Yeah.
What's your favorite venue to play?
I don't know. I don't want to play favorites. I feel like I'm obligated to say Badger State because we're playing there. I don't know.
Yeah. I also was going to say Badger State. Jen over there is really awesome. She's definitely, she's super cool. I mean, getting the album release show and stuff together was really quick to do all that. So I give pointers to Jen for sure. Yeah, in the country, I don't know. I feel like Red Rock is one of those ones. That's the one I find myself watching the most live videos for too. So I'd probably also have to agree with Maddie on Red Rock. I think that would be a dream.
I gotta say, as far as local places, I do love playing at Badger State. We've played there 2 or 3 times now, and it's always really fun, and they always take good care of us and the other bands that play there. Not too long ago, it was in the fall, I think. I was playing with Traveling Suitcase, and we played at Paradigm. It's a coffee shop in Sheboygan, and that was a really cool spot too. So I really liked that one. And not to be unoriginal, but yeah, right when Maddie said Red Rocks, I was like, damn, that was gonna be my answer.
Yeah, that's the one.
that was gonna be a cool one. I was gonna say maybe that or like Cubby Bear, but I mean we already
played
play
Gummy
that,
Bear. That was a
which
good
was
one too.
cool.
Just to swing back, I will say it no longer exists, but the Lyric Room, the first time we played Lyric
Yeah.
Room, it was like a moment that felt very like legitimizing to me. Just I'd seen so many like national and regional acts there before. Yeah.
What, was that your first time going in the green room as well?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I think that was like one of the only times we've ever gone to a green. Well, Cubby Bear had a sick green. I have the best green room I've ever seen. I mean, that was unreal. But I mean, the Foo Fighters played there. So.
Yeah, and then say to see like Dave Grohl or like see like I think it was from when they played in like 20. I think they played there in 2021. But yeah, like they had like copies of their set list from like that show on the wall, and I'm like, I'm standing where Dave has stood.
They had like couches,
no pressure,
and TVs on the wall that like you see the stage and stuff, and like a whole thing full of beer and free food. And I was like, pfft.
Did you take advantage of that?
Hell yeah, we got Chicago dogs right before we went on.
big mistake.
Yeah, big mistake, but they were delicious.
Well, thank you, DJ Bear, for that question. And you can tune in to DJ Bear's show Tuesday nights here on WCZR Code Zero Radio. I know he plays a lot of Sherry Lane.
Yeah, I was gonna say, thank you, DJ Bear,
Yeah.
for continuing to support our music, and we appreciate it.
Yeah. Code Zero's been great to us. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you for making such good music. We've got more Yoga Fitness said, yes, Red Rocks, I'm there. Goals.
Yoga
That's my,
fitness.
that's
Yoga
my
fit-
mom.
Yeah.
That's Maddie's mom.
My mom.
Yep. She.
Hi.
Maddie's mom. Thank you for having Maddie
Yes.
Yeah.
on the anniversary of yesterday. Sounds like she had a very safe and responsible night last night. She's here today, nice,
I
bright and
did.
early.
She's feeling 22.
I am. No, I'm going to see my mom right after this.
Heck
Do
yeah.
more birthday things. So
So let's get into this album. The cover of the album. Who did the cover for this? I know it's an old photo.
Yes.
I guess credit to that would be my mother. She took the photo. That was me and I think June of 1966. 1996.
66. I'm like, damn.
I aged very well. No, yeah, I think it was like June 96. So I was like 1.5, and yeah, that's me, and then my dad, and he's pushing my sister on the swing, and yeah,
Justin's just flying.
yeah, just zooming.
1.5-year-old flying.
So somebody did you see the picture, Tyler, and then thought that'd be a good album, or how did
Well,
the decision be made to put that on the cover?
so at some point in time, we kind of were we all threw out like baby photos or photos of us younger as an idea. And I was at my mom's place in the UP, and I was going through like some old photos and sending them to the group chat and being like, hey, this could make a really cool album cover. And there were a few of them in there that like we could use later. But you know, there were some really good ones. And then Justin sent that one, and I was like, there's no question. I was like, that's easily the front runner. But we still, if you get a physical copy of the CD, on the back, we still used a few other photos of us as children. Yeah, I don't know if you can. Yeah, right up on
right
top
up at the
there.
top.
There's little Tyler on the left and Justin. John's hidden a little bit in that, but then, yeah, little Maddie. And then we have updated pictures that Dusty, was it Vestige Photos? Is
Yeah.
that it? Yeah, Vestige Photos. Shout out to Dusty. Took those of us at Ambassador recently. So,
Oh yeah, it was back in January, right?
yeah, something like that.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So then, who actually did the putting this all together, formatted it and everything to be put on the CD? Because that can be a hassle for a band that they don't realize till they're doing it. Then you've got to put stuff in templates and
Yeah, it was a pain in the ass. I did that. It sucked. But Justin was gracious enough to go to Walgreens to get the photocopy to put to get a really good version of it on the front there. But
Yeah, there's that platinum blonde hair.
platinum blonde.
So Justin, this is actually pretty cool for you because you're on the cover of this.
Yeah, it's cool. I don't know when we were throwing out photos, or or when Tyler was like, yo, send me any like baby photos you guys have. Like that was the first photo that I could think of that came to mind. I don't know. That's one of my favorite photos from like when I was a kid. And then I think funny enough, the photo of me on the back of the cover is probably like one of my other favorites. So, but yeah, when he's like, oh yeah, we should do this one, I was like, yeah, cool. If you want to, it's my place in the band is pretty permanently stamped now.
You're forever in the band now.
Is this forever?
What do you think of safety with children's playground equipment? I mean, this looks pretty safe. It looks like there's a little seatbelt or something that's in between your. Oh, actually, it's not even on you. Isn't that supposed to be in between your legs to hold you from falling out?
I think it was like a plastic thing that like slid over the ropes that are like whatever's holding the swing up. I think it was like something that slid down in between.
Oh yeah, I see.
But yeah, no. As far as safety goes, I mean, I think we've honestly gotten a little soft.
We've grown as a country, but in the wrong direction. I feel like
let kids get hurt. It's obviously make sure they're okay, but that's how you learn.
Yeah, my child gets hurt a lot.
Not everybody needs a perfectly round, smooth skull.
Sam from Horace Green said, "Congrats on the album. Been shaking my booty to Basher Boogie. Love you."
Thanks, brother.
Sam,
love you too.
you. Boys' night. Let's go, Sam. Boys' night.
Oh, Greg Tolman.
What's up, Dad?
What is your favorite song to play on stage?
Not even close. It's Basher Boogie for me. That song is so fun to play.
Heck yeah.
Hey, Greg, if you've got any hard-hitting questions for Tyler, fire away.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Uh-oh. Dangerous. What about you guys? What do you guys like to play on stage most?
I gotta say, I mean, yeah, Basher Boogie's fun. Just that bass line is busy. But yeah, no, otherwise I really like playing April 25 and Michigan Girls. It's always fun to play. So it's a crowd favorite.
Got another message here. I'm just going to quickly
sure.
step in. It's from Johnny Buzios.
That's my Uncle John.
Your Uncle John says, great interview. Loved the questions and insight into the band and music, and happy birthday, Maddie.
Oh, thank you.
So yeah, I don't know if John said his favorite song, Maddie, to play on.
Yeah. I was just gonna say it's April 25 for me, mostly because I do a technique in that song where I have a wah pedal on and a fuzz, and it feels like I'm driving a race car when I turn it on. It's so loud, and I've got the foot pedal action. Yeah.
I would have to say April 25 as well, or Heartbreak Hotel. Basher Boogie stresses me out, but that one's also fun as well.
I agree. Yeah, the especially after your drum solo, the part where I'm kind of doing the bass slide thing, that one it's stressful because it sounds like crap if I don't hit it right.
Yeah. Exactly.
So sometimes I don't hit it right, and so I'm like, oh, that sounded like crap. I don't think anyone else noticed it, but I noticed.
And you're also singing backups too, usually with me there, right? I mean,
yeah.
So you're also doing that.
It's kind of like one of these.
Yeah.
Well, Heartbreak Hotel was released earlier in the year. Mm-hmm. Any reservation about naming it that because of the Elvis tune?
I had reservations. I told him not to do it, and then I played the song for my mom, and she was like, "Oh, is this one called Heartbreak Hotel?" And I was like, dang, we probably shouldn't do it.
So you had reservations at Heartbreak Hotel?
I did.
But the lights were never vacant, Maddie.
I definitely did look it up ahead of time. I'm like, is the name copyrighted? Like, is Elvis's estate gonna come after us?
Gonna come after us.
I think we're good for publicity.
Publicity.
Yeah. Whatever is it called, SEO or whatever?
Yeah. We're not big enough for Elvis to care. Well, his family to care about us, I don't think.
Had to get really big before Elvis started to care. Come on, hiding and all that.
Get it to clone, bring him back to life. No, but I think, that was the one thing too, because there were a lot of songs that had different working titles. Like Miles. Miles just kept developing because we were like, oh, it's like a Rolling Stones-esque.
Well, it started as a Olivia Tremor Control song that I was trying to rip off.
So then we were like, well, here's like Rolling Stones. So we call it like Rolling Sly Stone Temple 21 Savage Pilots or something at one point, I think was what we were on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was even bigger than that, but yeah, there were a few of them that changed, and we still call them by their working title because we've had them for so long. Heartbreak Hotel was one of those things, and Is This Forever was also another song that changed. And I was listening to a podcast about songs that are earworms, and they had mentioned how if you name a song by something in the song, like a lyric in the song that's like a sticking point in that moment, or like a marker of that song that people are going to remember, that's when people get the earworm. So I was like, well, sorry everybody. Here's the earworm now.
Yeah. What was another one? Yeah, La Resistance was also one where I think we called that one Acid for the longest time.
Yeah.
And I don't know, when I write out the set list, I still sometimes like I'm
Acid.
about to write Acid and I'm like, no.
It's La Resistance.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Back when we were doing the first album, I would refer to songs as like, what's that one in A major with the other chord? What's that?
Yeah, and then John learned quickly that I don't know music theory, so I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, just start playing it.
I think, what was Heartbreak Hotel, was it Heartbreak? Yeah, I think that one was like demo 8 for like the longest time.
Yeah.
Or something was demo 8, and I'm like, and of course that was like, or I remember like when I joined the band, there was a lot of songs where it's like, oh, this one's demo 4, and I'm like,
yeah, we just had numbers.
Yeah, I was like, wait, which one is that? Like,
I was always like, just play the riff and I'll figure out which one it is, because I don't start really any of them.
Yeah, pretty much.
Faster Boogie for me for the longest time was just Sound Check Jam, because I think we played that at a sound check one time, and I was like, oh, I like that. Is that a song? Are we working on that? Or
yeah,
and they're like, yeah, for sure.
Like maybe.
It's like, cool. All right.
We've got a couple more questions here.
Sweet.
Bree Tolman,
Oh, hey.
what are your earliest memories surrounding music?
Great question. So, that's a good question. My grandfather was a musician, but he didn't really play a whole lot when I was little that I remember. I would say probably when I got my first guitar, I was like maybe 10 years old, and I got a first act guitar for like Christmas or something. And I remember my grandpa, like I knew he played music for like however long and stuff. And I remember he grabbed it and he was like trying to tune the thing. And I remember him saying, he's like, I got the grip strength that can kill most men, and I can't even tune this like I can't even get this thing to work. And I remember that line. And then him just absolutely like shredding for like just putting me in my place, just shredding on me when I was like 10. So that was really cool. So that's my first memory. What about you guys?
So yeah, mine is kind of a long story, so buckle up. Yeah, so I mean, my dad is a musician. I mean, he's been playing, in bands and in clubs and stuff like that since he was like 15 or 16. So I mean, for over 50 years now, and and so he plays bass and a little bit of guitar, and so I got that from him, and so with that too. And like my mom was in like choir and stuff like that in high school and stuff. So like just both parents were pretty musically inclined, and so there's always been music going or like playing in the house, and so and I just remember, and it's still to this day one of my favorite movie that came out probably around the time I was born is That Thing You Do, which is Tom Hanks's directorial debut, and like he wrote it and everything, but it's about this band. It's kind of like an American ripoff of like the Beatles, but it's like the music in there it's just really catchy, and it's about this band that kind of just skyrockets into fame pretty much overnight, and so like I remember watching that movie, and that mixed with my dad playing music and stuff like that was I just remember like watching that movie and be like, I want to be a rock star when I grow up, and like we'd have like I just remember like my sister and I, we'd have like she'd be like playing on like a plastic guitar, and like I'd have these two like those like bouncy ball things that have like the handle you can sit on and bounce around on. Like I'd put 2 of those in like a wagon and like have these like plastic golf clubs and just bang on them like they were drums. And I was like, yeah, we're recreating That Thing You Do, and yeah, that's my favorite musical memory, or probably my first.
For me, my parents were friends with a singer-songwriter from the Fox Valley area, and they took me to see him a lot when I was younger. And he played a lot of like songs for children, but then he also like mixed in some like 60s, 70s singer-songwriter stuff. So that's definitely been a big influence on me.
Is that Cookie?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Funny enough, that was when was that? It was like a year ago or something like that you discovered. So yeah, fun story. The Cookie was my godfather, and so when John found that out, he was like, "Wait, what?"
That was a while.
We had never met each other until we started playing music together.
Yeah.
think my earliest memories was my mom always had like a camcorder and like it was just in our face all the time. And so I guess I don't necessarily remember this, but we watched a bunch of the footage up at our cabin one week, and we had this karaoke machine, and I would just always be on it singing gibberish. I couldn't even talk yet, but it was just like, ah. And my mom goes to change the song, and I totally shut her hand in the cabinet. So that's just a story that came to mind. But okay. Yeah, my mom was always singing at us, and it wouldn't be a song or anything. It's just like, oh, I'm cleaning the kitchen, and you're cleaning the kitchen. And yeah. So I think that's probably why I'm as musical as I am. Is from like day one, it was just always singing.
My mom would do these things that she would like put information for like, and it was honestly really helpful looking back at it, or actually pretty smart, but she would take the songs, like the tunes of different songs, and like make her own versions of it to like teach us like, this is what your address is in case you ever need to like find out where you live, or like this is your number, like this is like our phone number. And so I was just like, I don't know, it was one of those things where like I always remember that too, where yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to sing it now.
Your mom's like...
I definitely know the one for learning my phone number, though.
Oh, come on. You got to hit us with it.
Well, Bree, thank you for that question. Bob Minter, who I know really likes the movie The Thing You Do,
nice,
had a question. He would like to know, was there a discussion on doing an EP or a full-length album before going into the studio?
Not only was there a discussion, there was an agreement.
Yeah. Or disagreement.
There was an agreement. We originally discussed doing 2 EPs and splitting them. And then that was a hill I was willing to die on with changing it, because I felt like it was very cohesive all together. And I was kind of like, you know what? I feel bad. Because then, like, my other thought is with 2 EPs, like, what happens? You release the first one, people really like it. And then you release the second one and people don't care at all. And then you're like, well, and if it was just one cohesive album, and also, too, like, the songs, like, there's a couple songs in there that, like obviously about cocaine or whatever, but I do feel like there's this thread that does run through them about just like life and growing up in the experience of heartbreak, or, just the sheer pain of existing. So that is, why we ended up changing it, because that was a hill I was dying on.
and I think we took we kind of looked at the list of all the songs, and we were like, honestly, that it is yeah, we could split it up into 2 EPs if we wanted to, because there are some songs that, like if you just pick them apart individually, like for example, like La Resistance is, a lot more of a heavier song, and then there's One and the Same, which is, very laid back, almost like bossa nova-esque. And so it's like, yeah, we had that initial discussion of like, okay, yeah, we could probably put those on separate EPs if we wanted to, but kind of like beginning to end, and with the set or the track list order that we put it in, it was pretty cohesive, and I think, even with like an A side, or like an A and a B side too, like you can really tell like there's a distinct like difference between like the A and the B, going from like One and the Same and then picking it up on the B side with Bad Habit, yeah.
So as far as Honeytone and Patrick and Jeff, were they pretty instrumental as far as getting you to be a little more experimental, or were you already going down that road when you booked the time at Honeytone?
I mean, pretty much everything was done. I mean, the only thing that we did that we experimented with was with Maddie, with keys, and then also bringing in Jason Riesdorf from Natural Satellite to do the saxophone on Song for Mom, and bringing my wife Bree in on One and the Same. I mean, all those decisions were pretty much made ahead of time, and Patrick and Jeff, I mean, they just mostly added, like reassurance during the recording process, and that part was nice. But yeah,
they definitely had some production like a role on the album, but I think for me at least, a lot of it was telling me things ideas that I had that I wasn't sure about, and them kind of being like, no, don't do that one, do that one, that kind of thing.
I do remember Patrick and I being on the same page with a lot of the like creative side of things. Like when there was something that I was feeling internally that I was like there was a couple decisions that like we were thinking about making that were like decisions in the studio that we ended up not going with, because, and like Patrick was like, yeah, I don't think that makes sense for this and this reason. I was like, oh, I'm so glad he said it. I'm so glad I didn't have to say that.
Do I hear bells on? Are those actual bells or keyboard bells?
Those were actual. It looked like a toy bell kit.
It was like, yeah, the Glockenspiel or whatever.
Yes.
Wait, what part?
Is This Forever?
It's like lots of interesting instruments and stuff you wouldn't normally think you'd hear on a Sherry Lane album.
Yeah.
It's just kind of got a little of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, the sax. I love the saxophone thing was probably my favorite introduction of a new instrument on our stuff. That was wild. And then it's so abrupt too. Like it's just something that I know people who haven't, like didn't see some of our posts on Instagram, like all of a sudden just get shocked by the ending of it. I've heard that a few times now.
Well, Low Resistance, like that's got a different sound to it. Like there's just lots of different. I suggest if people haven't listened to Sherry Lane for a while, maybe get into Spotify or wherever and listen to it. Any chance you'll put this out on vinyl down the road?
Man,
that was a discussion.
You were talking about side A and side B.
Yeah, so that was a discussion, but unfortunately, at least because pressing vinyl is expensive. But even cost aside, I think it's tricky because obviously each side of a record only has so much capacity, and I think it's like if we were to do just one disc A and a B side, I think it's like we were like a minute and a half for like 2 minutes over on each side, where it would have been like, okay, you're going to start to lose sound quality if you try to cram too much music onto one side. And then I think we didn't want to split it into doing like 3 sides either, so it's like we'd have to go and do like a double album and only have like 3 songs on each side, and we were like, I don't know if we want to do that. So it has been a discussion, but I think just with unfortunately just how long the song or like how long the album is, it just wasn't in the cards.
However, though, too, if any fans out there want to go ahead and press their own vinyl, please do. You have my approval.
I think we did discuss maybe the possibility of doing like a pressing just like the 2 singles that we were doing, like Heartbreak Hotel and then Basher Boogie on like an A and a B side, just like 7-inch single, just as a kind of a cool thing to have. But yeah, I don't know. We might revisit we might have to figure out the logistics behind pressing the vinyl and maybe revisit that.
Yeah.
What's a song for Mom all about?
It's about my mom. Yeah,
it's very subliminal.
Yeah, very. It's really deep. It's got this deep message. No, it's I actually was intending on trying to write a Dr. Dog song because I love Dr. Dog so much, and I was just kind of messing around on guitar with that, the guitar thing that I do, like that walk down thing, and I also didn't realize this too. Somebody pointed out that the melody reminds them of something by the Beatles, and I was like, oh. So and I kind of heard that the other day too.
It has the same line cliche, and it's got
yeah. So I was like, well, okay, cool. But no, I wasn't really intending to make a super emotional song when I started writing it. I was just kind of like the line about going to a party and stealing someone's shoes just to see the way that they live life. I mean, that was just something silly off the top. And then my dad told me, he's like, your mom actually did that, right? And I was like, no way. I was like, she actually would steal people's shoes from parties. So I was like, well, that's cool. And then, like I have a 3.5-year-old daughter and stuff. And like, so my thing is to never try to make my mom cry at my songs, but she would probably say the otherwise. And then when we had the ability to put audio from my baby tapes in the slowdown part at the end there, I was like, well, this is really gonna make her cry.
Well, your dad said the baby tape audio gets them every time.
Yeah, it got my dad. I was surprised by that. Him and I were sitting in my car listening to the album for the first time once we got the masters back, and he started crying next to me, and that was really cool. And then it's kind of funny though to think about, because there's that juxtaposition of like, going through the emotional crying, and then all of a sudden here's the saxophone in the chorus, coming to it. So it's but it's just it's more so of a celebration of my mom, and the things that she's taught me. I mean, my mom called me out on my lyrics at one point and made me a better songwriter by doing so. I tried to fit in this line, tried to rhyme goat with coat one time when I was in like 5th grade, and my mom's like, dude, that's not it. Don't do that. That sucks.
Well, now you rhyme self with self.
I do. I rhyme 2 things together all the time that are the same word.
Patrick Boland says hello.
Hi, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick.
So what do you guys have coming up? I know, John, you mentioned a music video, or somebody mentioned a music video, or did I mishear?
Yes, we just had a little music video thing that came out the same day as the album. So it's out on YouTube now. It's for the song "The Balance," right at the front end of the album. So
if somebody wants to pick up a hard copy, Jesus,
Just like you'll be doing.
I need to pick up another hard copy. Where can people go to get that?
So we will have them at GBUFO. There's a few copies at GBUFO right now, and then we also will have some copies. I have to bring some over to Rock and Roll Land in Green Bay. Gonna probably have a few over at Eroding Winds in Appleton and Oshkosh too. Just have to drop those off now. Otherwise, just reach out to us, DM us on Instagram or Facebook, and I can get you a copy.
Come to a show.
And come to a show.
Yeah,
we will have them.
We'll definitely have them at our album release show next Saturday at Badger State.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that before we have to wrap up.
Yeah. So we're going to be playing at Badger State. We're going to be out in the beer garden. So we're really looking forward to that. And it looks like the weather's hopefully going to be in our favor.
Yeah.
And but yeah, even if not, obviously with the draft coming up, they're already getting ramped up for a bunch of events being that close to Lambeau, and so, but yeah, they're like, yeah, the whole stage is going to be like tented up, and so knock on wood that there's no inclement weather, but so there's going to be a lot of hopefully a really good turnout, and so it's going to be starting at 5 p.m. And then we're going to be playing with a band that we recently played with a couple times. They're out of Madison. They're called Sapsucker, and they're just a really great band. They're a lot of fun to see, and so we were like, yeah, we'd love to have you guys open up for us, and so they'll be playing, and then we'll keep it going, and we'll be playing the new album in its entirety, front to back, and then probably throw in a handful of other songs, at the end too, and we'll have maybe a couple guest appearances as well, which will be a good treat. So
yeah, it's gonna be.
Sure you go there, and it'll be a free show as well.
It's free, yeah, and it's Sherry Lane like you've never seen Sherry Lane before. I'll just leave it at that.
Well, you've been watching Fox Cities Core on Code Zero Radio. Any final parting words?
Thank you guys. We're very proud of this album. We hope you guys all listen to it and like it as well. And follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, any streaming platforms, as well as Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. It's just Sherry Lane Band. Anything else from you guys?
No, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Hell yeah.